everyone, thank you for joining me for the second part of this series from Magical World by Johanna Basford, castles, and we are doing the second castle today, which is this one here. So let's come and have a little look. We are using our Castle Arts pencils, very apt. These are the soft touch pencils. Now you can colour along with any pencil if you wish. I do have some comparison charts for Castle Art, so you can find equivalents in other sets, and if you can't find one, let me know. I'll see what I can do. I don't have every pencil set, but I am fortunate enough to have quite a few, so hopefully I can help you out. Right, I am going to start with the grass. Can you see at the bottom here? Definitely some grass. So what colour? Well, I'm always scratch my head and wonder what colour is right for grass. Now, the bluey greens aren't really right. Some of the greens are quite artificial. In all pencil sets, I'm not being critical particularly of this set, but I'm going to start with, what colour is that? Looking at my swatch chart and pondering. I was going to grab the leaf green, but I can't find it on my chart. Oh, there it is. It's far too light. I think I'm going to go for the cadmium green pale. It is my shortest pencil. I rather like this sort of type of green. So I'm going to put this down, but I will probably add another colour as well. But I'm just going to put a layer down. So cadmium green pale. Yes, as I say, there's plenty of charts, but I hope you're colouring along. The aim of my videos, although I quite like, I like the idea that people might just be listening and enjoying, you know, I do feel that you could probably get more benefit if you do something arty while you're listening, if you can. You know, whether you're colouring along with this or something in a different book. Obviously not everyone has this book or these pencils or wants to do this particular picture, but you know, or whether you're just doodling by the side or something, you know, grab a pencil, pen, have a little, do a little arty thing. I think it will it'll help. I am going to grab the cadmium green now. Oh, here it is. Oh, I thought I might struggle to find it. It was a bit easier to find. And I'm going to do a bit more on the grass. I need to sharpen it. Lost my sharpener then for a moment. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I do appreciate when people colour along and when people share with me what they've done. If you want to share with me, you can message me personally on my social media, but it's always lovely to see you tagging me in your pictures on your social media channels. I don't always see the tags, but most of them. But another way is to, I'm trying to do little tufts, but it's not showing up massively. I'm going to do some in a darker colour in a minute. I'm going to just do a few bits here at the bottom. I think I'm just going to make the bottom a bit darker. On my Facebook page is the best place if you've got Facebook. And when I post, say I'm posting, like here's this video, you know, because I always post to tell you when the videos are ready. If you then post your version of the picture, I can see it. And Facebook is the thing that I seem to check the most, but also I get the best notifications for. Instagram doesn't always notify me when someone's tagged me or whatever. I don't know why, whether it's my settings or whether it's Instagram. This is sap green, and I'm going to just do a few more tufty bits. So as I say, I don't really know why, but I don't always see them. So that's why I prefer seeing it on Instagram. Now on my Instagram you can't post, you can only comment, and because I just set that up to make it easier for me to moderate. I don't have loads of time. I have had people suggest I actually set up a page where people can post all the time. I don't have the time to moderate that or to even go in there and sort of see everything that's going on. I just don't really So it isn't something that I want to do at this stage. I'm going to do the roofs in a brown. I'm just picking one. Yes, so so that's the best way to do it. It's just to post. I'm going to use sepia. Now sepia might feel a bit dark and an odd choice, but the sepia in this set is actually, you can't, it looks really dark on camera. It's not as dark as it looks. It's a very orangey colour. I don't know why it looks so dark on camera, but anyway, it's a very orangey brown. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, if you watched yesterday, you'll know how I'm going to do these turrets, but I will talk you through it again on the first one. So a darker application on the edges, and to get it darker, you just layer it up more. So just keep layering until it's dark enough. I think that's okay. And so now I'm going to come in towards the middle, bit by bit. I find if I do a little bit each side like this, then I naturally find the centre without having to think. I'm not very good at guessing where the centre of something might be. So if I do it this way, it finds itself almost. There we go. So that's our first turret. It still looks a little bit darker than I expected, but it's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter. And I'm just going to do the same on all of them. And then those flat ones would do slightly differently. So it's still really sunny. I shut the blind because it makes my eyes go funny if it's too bright outside compared to in the room. So I'm hoping it's going to help my eyes a little bit. My eyes just do get tired after a while. But it's weird because then I can go next door and I can see again. I think it's partly the sort of concentration, having, like, when I'm colouring next door, I don't tend to colour as intensely, in the sense that I look up at my screen for a bit and look at something going on there and that sort of thing, or I might be half editing at the same time, so I've got to keep looking up. So I think that helps my eyes really, rather than just staring down all the time. It's quite odd, because growing up I've always had glasses since I was about 9, I think, and apparently I should have needed them at a much younger age. It just wasn't picked up. I think it's because when you're a child, you just assume whatever is going on with you to be normal. Like my aphantasia, I just thought everyone couldn't see faces very well in their head, and just like when I try and picture a face, all I see is some hair and a blank. And when I try and picture anything, it's quite blurred and difficult. I mean, it's not really severe aphantasia, but I couldn't, if you told me, right, imagine those buildings coloured red, now imagine them orange, no, can't do any of that. I have to just colour it and see what turns out. So, but I haven't got it. I know some people have it much worse. Mine's definitely much worse with faces. And I think faces are harder to bring to mind anyway because they're so detailed. But it doesn't matter. I'm complaining. I'm just explaining that we sometimes have things and we just don't notice until we get a little bit older. This is walnut brown, and I'm going to use the walnut brown for the little bits underneath the roof here. I need to sharpen it, and then we'll do those flat roofs. There we go. But I was talking about something as a child, and I can't remember. Oh dear, my mind has wandered off somewhere, and I can't get it back. I think this lead is loose. It is wibbly wobbly. I'm going to do this bit, you see. There. So those roofs are slightly different because the little line is on the top rather than underneath. But I am going to grab my sepia again and do the water. Oh, eyes, that's what I was talking about. Goodness, I've got there again. Yes, so I had glasses when I was 9, but these, I was short-sighted, which means that my close-up sight was perfectly fine. So back to sepia. There we go. Yeah, my close-up sight was absolutely perfectly fine, and it was my distance sight that I struggled with. And so it wasn't until I think I'd had my children, so maybe 40s, something like that, that I started getting eye spasms when I'd done a lot of close work and then was trying to look up, or vice versa. And I was told by the optician that I was getting old. Nice, thank you. No one likes to be told they're getting old. Anyway, and that it was quite normal. And then eventually I needed to have very focal specs. I'm just looking for a darker brown to do these bits. These bits here, they remind me of mushroom gills. Oh, I missed a roof there. And what's that? I think it's a bit of this rather than a chimney. So before sorry, we're going back. So I've got my sepia again, and I'm going to do that bit of roof with the sepia. Basically a bit darker near the house, near the building. And then I'm going to grab my walnut brown again and do that little blippy bit, because that's what it's called. Now back to the Van Dyck brown and sharp. And what I'm going to do, start on the far side, make it darker, then lighten it a little bit towards the line. You can just block this in if it's easier. You might even decide that you don't want it to look like a mushroom gill and you would rather block it in anyway. It is completely up to you. I just fancied having a play with this technique because it's one that I haven't that long learned. Well, I can't think how long really, probably a year, I don't know. And it's fun to play with it. It's really difficult in these tiny air sections actually. But it is good fun. But I seem to be lost for words while I'm doing it. Right. Now our actual buildings, we've got quite a few different buildings here, haven't we? Some are, this one looks like it's square, and this one, whereas the others look like they're turrets, excuse me, are more rounded. So they're all a little bit different to each other. I want something that goes with the brown and the green, obviously. And I'm thinking I could either go for like yellow ochre, cinnamon, that type of colour, or I could go more for my peachy type colours. I feel like a peach is not very regal. Is this a castle? So I'm going to use my yellow ochre. I just feel like it looks a bit like gold, and it just feels a bit better, you know. So here it is, yellow ochre. So I think I'm just going to start with a light layer over all of the turrets, not the windows. And then I will come back and try and darken some bits and see whether I need to add another shade or not. We'll see how it pans out really. It's quite interesting. Does anyone out there have ADHD? Because I was trying to motivate my husband to do more exercise, because he shouldn't be sitting for more than an hour without getting up and moving. And I've had the suggestion, well, just get him to set an alarm on his phone. But it doesn't work. For me, it would work, but I don't have ADHD. And so I need to try and get into that ADHD brain and work out what is going to work. So I'm just trying to here, by the way, on this turret, make it darker on the edge than the middle to give a more rounded look. It isn't as good, as defined as I'd hoped. So, well, good to look up every so often. well, I knew it wouldn't be, so I'm going to put another colour in there in a bit. This one will have some shadow here. So what do you do? Because what happens is his alarm goes. He knows what it's for. He knows that it's important, but he just dismisses it because he's in the middle of something. And then he's still in the middle of that something when it goes in an hour's time. And he doesn't have an ability to prioritise. What he's doing is the most important thing. So he can't stop. He can't stop either. Once he started something, he wants to, you know, focus on it and get it done. So unless something really urgent, which in my mind the exercise is, but in his mind not so much. I'm going to do a little shadow under the roof here like that for this one. So what would you do? Can't get my words out. Blah, 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 blah. I'm choosing another colour, by the way. I want a little bit more shadow, as I said, and I'm trying to decide. Not cinnamon, burnt sienna is a little bit orange. I think I'm going to try the raw umber and see whether it shows up enough. I just spoke into the bookcase then when I was picking my colour. It's useful for you. So what do you do? You know, he knows that he should be exercising. He sort of wants to, but it's not something that ever comes naturally to him. You know, when he's sitting, he's very, very still. And I think that's part of his problem, why he's had this deep vein thrombosis. He doesn't even move his feet. Because I'm like, why don't you just sort of move your feet around a bit while you're sitting? Because if you can't can't walk or stand, there are still exercises that you can do to help with the deep vein thrombosis, just moving your feet around a bit, you know. And so there are, I'm going to grab my yellow ochre again and just go over what I've done, because I want a bit more intensity of colour. So, you know, he could just move his feet a bit while he sits, but he doesn't even do that. He just literally sits and, yeah, and gets into a flow state. And if anyone disturbs that flow state, it's very upsetting for him, because it takes him sort of 15-20 minutes to get into the right mindset for doing whatever he's doing, and then he's in it and he doesn't want to come out of it, you know. So I don't know if there is an answer really. I do look sometimes on ADHD forums and things, and maybe I should look a bit harder. I think this front house needs to be a bit darker as well. What I'm going to do is make it as dark as this, and then put a different colour, shadow in my my cardigan sleeve just caught on the piece of paper that's behind this page. It was nothing too it's made a ripping sound, didn't it? But nothing ripped. Right, I've grabbed my Van Dyck brown now. I'm going to do a few darker shadows. So I'm thinking right on the edges of these turrets, where the buildings are overlapping as well. Like here, under this flat roof here. And then, you know, around this edge. And hopefully we get a slightly more three-dimensional look to our picture. Now some people can achieve the most amazing three-dimensional look, and I do study their pictures intently, trying to work out exactly what it is they've done to make it look so absolutely spectacular. I haven't quite worked it out yet, but I'm looking, I'm trying. I think it might just be layers and layers and layers of colour. Now, we need to go under this rooftop. And now the grass as well. I'm just going to go along the edge of there. So yes, I'm trying to find tools to help him. But also the sort of nuisances. I realise that when people need to make lifestyle changes, it needs to come from them. They need to be the one that's motivated, and then they're much more likely to do it. So even if I find a solution or something that might work, the chances of it happening are quite low. But I feel that I want to try and help. You know, I want to try and do what I can, and if I've done it, then I feel like I've at least tried. Now, I'm going to do the windows in a charcoal grey. If you watched yesterday's video, you'll remember I talked through different methods of doing windows. This one is going to be the sort of glass, shiny glass look. Okay, there are different ways to do a shiny glass look. But with our windows having these little tiny panes, I think the easiest way is to do this sort of diagonal line like this with a light bit in the middle. So start from each corner and just fade towards the middle. It's not very natural. No window would have a shine right exactly across the middle and then every window being the same. But it sort of gives the impression of a light shining off the window. And I think it's pretty okay. I think it works pretty well. So there is our... It doesn't look as regal as I'd hoped, because the grey looks quite brownish. The gold, sorry, looks quite brownish, but I think it's okay. I think I'd be quite happy living there, although all those turrets would be a pain, wouldn't they? Because they're not connected. So if you was like sleeping in that bedroom and someone was in that one and you were going to go and take them a cup of tea in bed, you'd go all the way down and back up all those stairs. No, don't like the idea. All of these buildings have got turrets. I don't think I want a house with turrets. Very little chance of that happening, isn't there? Anyhow, I'd better let you go and get on with your day, but thank you so much for watching. As I said yesterday and probably earlier in this video, I can't remember, if you haven't got the Castle Art soft touch pencils, you want a comparison chart, they're on my Ko-fi. If you're struggling to find one, drop a note in the comments. I always read all the comments on my videos. Drop the note in there and I will see what I can do to help you. Okay, well, thank you for watching. As I say, have a super day, and happy colouring.